Today, we are making a beautiful, fragrant shimmer oil that is perfect for winter skincare. And that shimmer, it won't sink to the bottom of the bottle. So this DIY is super versatile. I'm giving mine a Sugar-Plum Fairy theme, but you can easily change that up. I did design this initially as a body oil, but if you want to, you can absolutely use it as a facial oil serum or even a rich hair oil. And also the shimmer is optional if that's not your jam. I've put together a free printable PDF of this project so you don't have to worry about getting shimmer on your tablet or your phone as you work, but more on that later. We'll begin by weighing out the oils. Surprise, surprise, these make up most of the shimmer oil. I'm going to make a 100-gram batch today, which fills about 4 1-ounce bottles. Our star is plum oil, the oil expressed from the kernels of plums. You'll need 20 grams. What's really special about this oil is its scent. It smells wonderfully of marzipan, and that comes through in the finished product. You can let that scent shine all on its own, but it also will mingle beautifully with a thoughtfully chosen fragrance or essential oil. The downside of plum oil is its price. It isn't cheap. If you adore the scent of marzipan and are okay with a bit of a splurge, it will last a long time if you keep it in the fridge. I have had this bottle for 7 years now and it's still fresh. And the good news, if you don't have plum kernel oil, you can easily swap it for the next ingredient in our formula, apricot kernel oil. Of course, you will unfortunately lose that beautiful marzipan-y scent if you don't use plum kernel oil, but you can still make your shimmer oil smell wonderful with the great fragrance and essential oil suggestions I'll share later. I chose apricot kernel oil because it is quite similar to plum oil in terms of its fatty acid composition, but it's a lot cheaper. You could also use sweet almond oil. You'll need 77 grams or 97 grams if you're not using any plum oil. Don't worry about writing all of this down though. Click the link in the description box below and I'll send you a free printable version of this project with all the ingredients, amounts, and instructions written out. Just sign up and it'll go straight to your inbox. To help extend the life of the body oil, weigh out 1 gram of vitamin E, which is an antioxidant that will help slow down how quickly the oils oxidize or go rancid. For some lovely scent, there's plenty of room to have fun and use what you have and love. I'm using 0.5 gram, which is 0.5% in this 100-gram batch, of this lovely Spicy Plum Pudding fragrance oil from Bulk Apothecary. It smells amazing on its own and melds wonderfully with the natural scent of the plum oil. For other sugar-plummy ideas, I think something vanilla-y would be great, so benzoin could be a good natural option, or something with a bit of a spice note would pair well with that plum marzipan note. I think it could also be really fun to infuse your apricot kernel oil with vanilla beans for an indulgent, all-natural, but like no essential oil or fragrance oil scent blend. You can also adjust how much scent you use. If you're planning on using this as a facial oil serum, I would drop the fragrance entirely and replace it with more apricot oil. But if you're using it as a hair oil, you might want to double the fragrance to 1% for more of a scent kick. Whatever you use, make sure it is safe at whatever usage level you go with for whatever sort of product you're making, because hair care products and facial products and body products all have different safe usage levels, even for the same essential oil or fragrance oil. And of course, if you are using plum oil, make sure whatever you choose smells nice with the plum oil smell. And kind of waft both open bottles under your nose to get an idea. And now it's time for the shimmer. You'll need 1 gram of a fine mica. Make sure you are using ethically sourced micas, as some micas are mined in truly appalling conditions. If you want to stick to the Sugar-Plum Fairy theme, choose something that feels, well, Sugar-Plum Fairy-ish to you, that you also think will look nice with your skin tone or your hair color if you're planning on using this oil in your hair. So I made an earlier version with a rich, plummy purple, But this time I'm going to use a color shifting mica that looks sort of silver white, but then shifts to violet when it moves. That feels very Sugar Plum Fairy to me, and it makes me think of ballerinas' tutus. Now, if you've ever made a shimmer oil before by just adding some mica to a liquid oil, you'll know that the mica will just bloop, sink straight to the bottom of the bottle, forming a layer of sad, shimmery sludge. And we don't want that. So, to keep our shimmer dancing throughout the oil, you'll need just half a gram of TKB Trading's crystal clear wax. This is such a neat ingredient. At just 0.5%, it thickens the oil a little bit, but its real superpower is its incredible suspending abilities, how it can keep the mica just floating in the oil. Now, just because an ingredient thickens doesn't necessarily mean it's good at suspending. And an ingredient that suspends mica in oil this well without needing to use so much that your body oil is more like a body butter is rare. So I'm afraid I don't have a good substitution for this ingredient. There are other things out there that big companies use, but they can be hard to get your hands on or trickier to use than crystal clear wax. So if you don't have it or don't want to use it, you can go the non-shimmer route and just replace both the mica and the crystal clear wax with more apricot kernel oil. You also can just keep the mica knowing it's going to sink to the bottom of the bottle, and then you just have to shake it every time you use it. Or you could make a shimmery body butter bar instead, where the mica can't settle out because it's suspended in a solid bar. So I have linked to a sugar plum body butter bar that would be a great fit for that approach in the description box below. Now that we've got our ingredients, it's time to make the oil. Combine the plum oil, sweet almond oil, and crystal clear wax in a beaker or heat-resistant glass measuring cup and heat to about 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit to melt the crystal clear wax. I find reaching this temperature requires direct heat. A water bath just doesn't get hot enough. You can place a glass beaker on a lab hot plate or a glass top stove set to low, and if you don't have that option, putting a glass measuring cup in a 200-ish degree Fahrenheit oven should do the trick. Because we're using direct heat, keep a close eye on things so you don't burn the oils. It's really important that every little last bit of the crystal clear wax melts or it won't work as well. Here you can see a version of this oil where I was pretty sure it had melted, next to a version where I was certain it had melted. And you can see the pretty sure version is separating at the top. So before you remove your beaker from the heat, look very closely to make sure you can't see any little blobs or wispy bits. Once that has happened, remove the beaker from the heat, stir, and let it cool down until it's just warm, rather than piping hot. Add the mica, fragrance, and vitamin E. Stir to combine, and then bottle it up. If you aren't using the shimmer, you can skip the heating. Just mix together the two oils, the fragrance, and the vitamin E, and bottle that up. I'm dividing my oil between 4 30 milliliter or 1 fluid ounce bottles. For a cap, I recommend something like a treatment pump, an orifice reducer, or even a mister top. And that's because these sorts of cap reduce how much oil you can dispense at once, making it harder to apply way too much, leaving you feel like a shimmery grease ball. That's just one way to reduce the greasiness of body oils though. If you'd like to learn the trick big companies use to make lightweight, non-greasy body oils, you've got to watch this video next. It's pretty cool and really, really easy to steal and use in your own formulations. Oh, and don't forget to sign up below to get the free printable PDF of this project. Happy making!